Double super jackpot!
I need a ramp. I need a loop. I want targets I can hit. I need the scoop. I need a double super jackpot in my life. That's right.
So I just want to start off by saying we already made a mistake.
Yeah, we're screwing up already.
If we were going to do this right, Kevin, what would you have said?
I would have said, coming up on Brody Even Talk Pinball,
We discussed the top news and events of 2016
some of your favorite moments from 2016 as well.
and a whole lot of other stuff. And then we would kick into the intro and we would look like professionals, but no.
No, it's just me and Nick, so this is what you get.
We nailed it last time, though, so thank God we practiced that,
We
Kevin.
did.
This is a-
We totally practiced it, and then I just play the fucking music.
So you
play the music video. And
see,
off we
Kevin
go.
swore
And I'm
before me.
swearing.
This
Yeah.
is great.
Mhm.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
rattled.
I'm
this
fired
is
up.
good.
Mhm.
Calmer than you are.
Welcome to 2016. So this is our the year in pinball, as it were. For 2016, we're gonna recap the top 10 stories of pinball of the year. We also reached out to you guys on social media for you to share some of your favorite moments from the year when it comes to pinball, and we got some great ones. So we'll be taking a look at those later on as well.
Yeah, I'm excited. So we've almost been doing this for a year, and it's nice to do a little recap because there's some things that we haven't covered on our podcast just because we haven't had time, or we do it once a month, so we try to hit all the highlights, but some things get lost. So this will give us a chance to go a little bit in depth on those things that maybe we only mentioned at best.
Yeah, and it's been a great year for us. We've done, this is episode 10. we got Doritos in the chat from Brian Teichman. Thank you, and we're really glad we're able to do this for you guys and that you guys are enjoying it. So why don't we kick it off?
So the first thing I wanted to start off with, just to reward, we asked people to send us emails at talkpinball@gmail.com, and look at that, we got an email.
Oh my God.
So
all right,
let's reward that person for sending us some questions, and this is a pretty good one, especially to folks who are new to pinball.
Okay.
And maybe even they're thinking about buying a game or just trying to make sense of different models of pinball machines. This comes from viewer Luigi, and he writes,
"What's up, Luigi?
Hey, Kevin, Nick, Martha, and the rest of the Buffalo crew." Martha won't be answering this. This is a side note. I know we had this discussion briefly on the surprise stream on Wednesday, but I still need some clarification on what the difference between Pro Edition and LE. I was looking at the X-Men Pro and LE editions, and they both look the same to me. I'll provide them in this email as a reference for you guys. Can't wait for you guys to get that Space Jam machine! Exclamation mark.
I can't wait either. Yeah, it's worthy of an exclamation
But
point.
yeah, I'll be all over the internet looking for you guys. He's not kidding. All right. P.S. Nick, don't make me drink during the podcast. All right. So
I guess I'm making
you
them drink.
don't have to drink during the podcast, but there are drinking rules for our stream, allegedly not created by us. So that's my legal disclaimer.
For those watching live in the chat, if you type exclamation point drink, you can get the rules. They won't really apply tonight because we're not playing pinball.
It's just funny, says Kevin, the non-drinker.
That's right.
He doesn't care if you guys get wrecked.
You guys can get wrecked. It's as long as you're having fun, it's all good.
So, all right. So that's a really good question, Luigi. Stern a few years ago came out with the concept of Pro, Premium, and LE models. They used to just make one model of pinball machines, and actually Stern is the first company to do this that I know of. I know some companies have done home machines in the past, but really in this kind of system is new, and it happened in the maybe 2011, 2012, around there.
Yeah, they experimented with it a little bit. There was Elvis had a limited edition, and there was, I think, didn't Rolling Stones have one as well? So they
and Spider-Man had the black, the black suit or whatever.
Yeah,
something like that. But this is, so the best way I can explain it is with the X-Men example that Luigi used, there wasn't a premium. There was just a Pro or LE. So let's take a one step back. And typically Stern will release a Pro version, a Premium, and an LE. Now the Pro version is the cheapest version, all right? And it's sort of geared to operators, and operators are folks who will put pinball machines out in the public. Mm-hmm. It's a cost-effective way to own a pinball machine, I guess, quote unquote. The premium version is almost the real version of the machine, in my opinion. It's kind of on par of what Stern was releasing before they went to that model. So the Pro has kind of some features missing from the premium edition. some key gameplay features in the game, and then the LE, which is the highest valued one, the highest cost one, that has cosmetic differences. So the gameplay is the same. There's nothing different about the gameplay between the premium and LE. The LE is geared strictly for collectors. So if you really love X-Men, you might be tempted to buy the LE because it has mirrored back glass and the side railing are what do I want to call it?
The armor.
It has armor. What is that? Powder coated, right?
And you can get like the Magneto or the Wolverine version. So sometimes they made like multiple LEs. But yeah, and you get a little plaque on there. You get sometimes the playfield is signed by Gary Stern and the designer. It comes with a certificate of authenticity, all that stuff.
So for Luigi's specific question, what's the difference between the X-Men Pro and the X-Men LE? There's a few differences. One of the prime things that you would notice when you play the game is that there's a spinning around the magnet. There's like a spinning disc, sort of like if you played the game Whirlwind. It's the same concept. That's on the LE. It's not on the Pro. There's just a magnet that will fire the ball around. The lighting is different on the LE. It uses that actually has LEDs in it. This is kind of the transition time, but that has LEDs in it and color changing.
Oh, I guess I didn't realize that on X-Men.
Yeah.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. This is kind of early on.
Yep. I love the magnetic like ball spinner thing. That's awesome when you start multi-ball.
Yeah, so it has more show, more fanfare, and that's actually still carried on of Stern, even though the pros these days have LEDs. The premium models and the LE models sort of have a better light show, I would say.
Yeah.
It's more dynamic,
Yep.
if you will. Going back to the X-Men, there's a moving ramp on the LE. So there's a ramp that normally, like the Iceman's ramp, it's normally on the right side. It will move during one mode over to the left. It's kind of, people hate that.
Because if your ball's coming down and the thing's in the middle of moving, it can shoot the ball right down the middle.
Mm-hmm.
So it can kind of screw you over too.
And last but not least, I think this is the last feature that's different, is that the LE on the X-Men has these Nightcrawler pop-ups, sort of like the trolls in Medieval Madness.
Yep.
So they pop up in certain moments of the game. Not a lot.
Yep.
Just like one mode, basically.
Yeah, I think all those features are awesome. The moving ramp, I like in theory. I don't like that it can screw you over.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I like all the rest of those features.
And the interesting thing, and again, so hopefully that helps explain it if you're new to this hobby and you hear the Pro, Premium, and LE. Every game is different. Some games, people prefer the Pro over the Premium or LE.
Yep.
There might be features on the Premium that change the gameplay enough that's actually a detriment. So I think X-Men's a good example. A lot of competitive players will like the Pro better because that ramp, as Kevin mentioned, will screw you up. It will drop the ball when it's rotating. It's just really annoying, and it's also more difficult to start some of the modes because you have to hit the rollovers on that game. And the way that movable ramp is, it doesn't hit the rollover. So it's an annoyance in many ways.
Yeah, there are some games where the differences between the Premium and the Pro are much more significant. So if you look at something like Game of Thrones, it's got a whole second upper playfield that, totally changes some of the gameplay on that. Makes it much more stop and go, much less flow. And then you look at something like Metallica, where they're mostly cosmetic differences between the two. It's like neater toys, but nothing that really affects the gameplay.
It's on a case-by-case basis as to what model somebody should look for. I think maybe the next question is, well, what should I get, right? Well, I think you got to look at the game. You got to play both models, several models, let it be out there for a long enough time to be able to judge it, because it's not obvious when a game is released what the better version to get is. The only exception to that is when they come out with limited editions, because they're limited. If it's a popular title, it will tend to sell out very quickly, so you kind of got to jump on it and buy it right off the bat. This means typically you don't get to play the game.
Yeah, paying for a game you've never played, which is always a risky situation.
That's what the collectors who have the money and they love the theme, or they're speculating that will go up in price. They're the ones who will jump on that. Otherwise, the beauty is that Stern will run games for 2-3 years sometimes, and you have plenty of time to go out there and play both versions, or all three versions really, and see what you like.
Yeah, and kind of wait and see how the code turns out before you really plunk down the cash.
Plus, nowadays, what's the price difference? So, like,
Pros are like $5. Of course, they're talking price increases for next year already, but
Jesus
we'll go
Christ.
based on current prices because we don't know what those are yet. But basically, all pros are $5,000
Shipped.
now. Shipped. Premiums,
I got 6,500 for my Walking Dead premium shipped last year.
Okay, so probably between 65 and 7.
Yeah.
And then 88 or 8,000, 8,500 probably for the LE, I would guess.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, the LE is just cosmetic. So
Right. So, and then of course they're throwing throwing things out of whack again with this Batman 66 because it's premium LE, super LE. There's no pro, but this is more of a boutique kind of like specialty game for them.
And they're supposed to jump back to kind of the regular pricing structure, pro,
Yeah.
premium LE is at least the rumors that I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Fair enough.
we can hope.
Back to business as usual.
Yes.
All right, let's jump into the main focus of this show, as it is the end of the year. It's December 19th. We're less than 2 weeks away from the new year, if my math is right.
Sounds good to me.
Sounds right.
I'll take your word for it.
Okay, I'm winging it here, Kevin.
Yeah.
We're going to go over the top 10 news, top 10 pinball events of 2016.
I feel like we needed some fanfare here. I could play the world premiere thing to lead into
If it makes you happy.
All right, let's do that. All right.
There you go.
Thank you. See, Pup Chase threw some bits in the cup for the world premiere.
Because he wants to talk about Kissed by a Rose.
He does, yeah.
Okay.
So let's kick it off with. So we're gonna start at number 10, count our way down to number 1, just like Casey Kasem style, and we're gonna start with number 10. Clearly the most important event of 2016 in the world of pinball, nominated by our own Jay Fairbrother and Nick Lane.
Ah, yes.
Agreed.
Thank you, Starhead. Just in time. It was the Battle for Buffalo. Last January 1st is. I think we kicked off the Pinball New Year with this. It was Adam Sandler, Fairbrother versus the Babymaker Metzler. It was a battle to the death, a face-off decades in the making. You were kind of the mastermind behind this. What was it? What was your?
I saw this all playing out in my head about a month or two before it happened, so I'm really proud of how it came together. But this is, first of all, this number 10 is very self-indulgent of Buffalo Pinball, and I promise that's the only Buffalo Pinball self-indulgent moment. But I'm also very proud of this because it's absolutely hilarious. It's the only video that we've ever done that I actually went back and watched in its entirety. I liked it that much.
It's so hilarious.
So Rob Metzer and Jay Fairbrother are folks on the Bro Crew. If you watch that, and they've been friends since 2003, and they have they're both petty individuals who are competitive, even though they're not really good at things, and they hold grudges, and it's just fun to watch them go head to head and just hate when the other person does well or beats them. So we thought, what would be better than sharing that with the rest of our audience than having those two square off. So we did a New Year's Day event. We started off the new year with Rob playing Jay on World Poker Tour.
It was the best of 5, right?
It was best of 5. We were afraid that it was going to go all afternoon. Spoiler alert, it did not. But it's complete with commentary. It's complete with a special guest, Steve Daniels, coming in remotely who was Jay's coach at the time. I don't think he is any longer because I think he's given up on Jay.
Yeah, Martha did interviews between the matches with the opponents. It was pretty great.
They had a promo video.
Yeah, we did. So just to illustrate the level of competitiveness, can you share the golfing story between Rob and Jay?
Yeah. So my favorite Rob and Jay story is that, I mean, this has got to be almost 10 years ago, probably 10 years ago. Rob is a better golfer than Jay, and Rob's used to being Jay, but one time Jay beat Rob, and Rob got so disgusted he walked off the course and threw his clubs in the garbage. So if that tells you anything, and he's dead serious too, it really upsets him.
It was pretty great.
He called the time when I went golfing with them, and Jay was keeping score, a choose your own adventure when Jay keeps score. And he reminds everybody that Jay's like an accountant. So it's fun. It's fun. I highly recommend. That should be like a prize if you donate enough. You can golf with Jay and Rob.
All right, so that was 10. Let's move on to actual news.
Oh, by the way, I just want to say you can check the Battle for Buffalo out on our YouTube channel, so you can watch it in its entirety. It's in like the top videos, like the top best or the
best.
recommended.
I put it in the best of Buffalo.
Yeah,
playlist.
you check it out. It's the kind of thing where it's a rainy day or you're just hanging out on Sunday and being lazy. Throw that on. It's good.
Rudy, thanks for the resub. Appreciate the support. All right, so number 9. If I can click on the thing and then hit the thing. There we go. Boom. We're going to take a 2-for-1 here. This is going to be both Rob Zombie, Spook Show International, and the Domino's Spectacular Pinball Adventure from Spooky Pinball. So Spooky Pinball really stepping it up this year, coming out with 2 games. They started shipping Rob Zombie back in January, I think it was. And then they were working on Dominoes over the summer, and they've prototyped that. You saw, if you watched the channel, then you probably saw it on Buffalo Pinball. And now they're starting to ship. So they've officially shipped 2 games this year. Because we have one location here in Buffalo, and there's also, I think there's one down in Texas now. But good on Spooky for releasing 2 games this year. That's more than some of the major pinball manufacturers.
That's pretty damn good.
But yeah, good on Spooky.
What did you, very quickly?
Sure.
You don't have to go crazy on this question, but you got to play, and I got to play Rob Zombie, for a good 2 hours. What did you think of the game?
I like it more now that I kind of know what's going on. I was surprised that we were able to get as long of games as we were on that. Like, we kind of had some long games. That hitting the Living Dead girl and getting the multi-ball wasn't particularly tough. So getting into a multi-ball and then you could keep adding balls. That kind of took a game that seemed really super chaotic and made it somewhat controllable, which I guess is good, right? Because you don't want to just like totally get your butt handed to you the whole time. But I like it. I think, it could probably use some code tweaking, but the callouts are cool. The music's cool because it's got Rob Zombie going on. The artwork is good. The screen, the play field, it's. I guess it was the artist's first time ever doing a pinball play field, and that's kind of obvious. It just kind of looks like a painting. It doesn't look like there's like any like. If you look at a typical play field, there's like it kind of shows you where to shoot with like how the art is drawn, and there's really none of that on the play field there. And the toys and stuff are kind of sparse. The chicken bucket people made some interesting comments about the chicken bucket.
Cool.
So what were your thoughts on Rob Zombie?
I'm not a huge fan,
No.
to be honest. It just didn't feel great shooting wise. I didn't have any shots that, when you play a pinball game, you're like, oh man, that shot feels good, right? So like, no matter what the code is at or what it could be, you just have a feeling of potential. And that game, I just didn't. There's nothing memorable about it for me. And also, some of the rules in the game just can be annoying. Like, if you hit these shots, but if you hit this shot, you lose the mode. So it gets a little chaotic and you fail the mode, and it just makes you feel bad as a player. And then maybe one of the most confusing, complex, aggravating things for me is that there's a mode, it's what the House of 1,000 Corpses, where you need to hit 1,000 switch hits to finish the mode or get the multi. No, it's during a multi.
During the multi-ball, yeah.
And you got to hit like 1,000 to get the jackpot.
I guess, yeah.
Something, right?
We got to like 600 was the highest we got.
And it's just like the definition of chopping wood. What's just so confusing is that you got to hit 100 switch hits. And a switch hit, if you're not familiar with that, is basically every time the ball activates something on the play field. Could be a slingshot, a rollover, target, pop bumper, whatever. That's a switch. That's one. So, okay, 1,000 switch hits is a lot. I don't know of any game that has to do 1,000 switch hits. I mean, Spider-Man has a mode where you have to hit 100, and that takes a little while to do. Granted, it's not usually multi-ball, but you got to do it. On this game, there's no spinner. So it is just this crazy grind, and you're just like, you look up and you're just kind of like, you feel like you've just been playing forever or something with the multi-ball, and you're like at 300. You're like, are you kidding me?
I do wish if there was a spinner on it, it would make that mode a lot better.
It's missing a spinner for that. So I don't know. If I never play the game again, I wouldn't be heartbroken.
Yeah, I wouldn't buy one, but I can appreciate it for what it is, and I'm sure Rob Zombie fans dig it.
Yeah, that's true.
As for Dominoes, it's still very early on in code-wise. If you saw us play it, it was like skill shot all day. From what I understand, they've revamped that, they tweaked it, made it a little more balanced. I hear there's a lot more Nick and Martha in it now.
Sweet. Hopefully they update the code on location. I asked Dave Fix to do that, so we'll see.
Yeah, so that was a high point for us this year, was getting our voices in a pinball machine. So thank you to Adam for that.
It's self-indulgent.
Totally. All right, so let's move on to number 8. And that is the Stern Pinball Arcade. So this has been rumored for quite a while that people would ask Stern, "Oh, you ever put your games in the Pinball Arcade? That'd be great." And they kind of hinted that this was something they'd want to do, but it finally happened just a few weeks ago. It kicked off for the PlayStation 4 as downloadable content, and now it's available in physical form on disc for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. You can also get it for Samsung Gear VR if you want to play it in VR mode, and I think it's still coming for Oculus Rift, or it might already be available. But I've been if you watch the channel, I've played it a few times on the channel. It's what you would expect from Stern pinball machines on the Pinball Arcade. So if you like the Pinball Arcade, if you want to learn the rules on the new games, then it's a great way to get involved and really dig in. Again, it gives you like the objectives and the goals to go for. It shows you exactly how to do that. So that's what I love the most about Pinball Arcade. So I'm really glad to have it.
That's a total win-win. I mean, it's brilliant on Stern's part to have this partnership. It's great for fans of pinball who might not get a chance to play new machines, and some people who might even be playing Pinball Arcade and don't realize. I mean, there's people out there, they don't realize that there's new machines being made. It's awesome. I mean, Ghostbusters is going to be coming out for Stern Pinball Arcade very soon, and that game was just released. So it's not just games that came out maybe a few years ago, but it sounds like they're going to start releasing digital versions concurrently with actual real machines being released.
That's such a great idea.
It's just so, I cannot see how that can go wrong. That's such a great idea. It's so good. Congrats to Stern. Congrats to Pinball Arcade for doing that, and everybody wins, I think, in my book.
Yep. Star Hedgehog just said they just announced Monelli for Stern Pinball Arcade as well, so be on the lookout for that.
Now everybody can get offended.
Everybody getting offended. All right, so what are we on? 7. Losing
Counting
my
is
count.
hard.
Next is The Hobbit, finally shipping in 2016. I was digging through some images, and I found ones that said coming 2014. So that didn't quite happen, but finally The Hobbit is here. We played it a lot. We're still playing it a lot. We love it. It's available in 3 versions. It's got the standard, the premium, standard LE, and the Smaug LE. Between the 3 versions, there's really not any gameplay differences. It's mostly cosmetic. The one we're seeing on screen here, that's the LE.
Which I like that, because then you don't have to agonize, oh my god, what edition do I get? It's like, okay, how much money do you want to spend to make this game just look pretty on the exterior for the most part?
Yeah, exactly. So I can appreciate that. Again, it's it's Jersey Jack Pinball's second game they ever released. It's second to The Wizard of Oz. Much like Wizard of Oz, it's got the full LCD screen in the back box.
I just pointed out also there's a Black Arrow edition.
Oh, that's right.
Lots of editions.
Thank you, Life Forcer. Yeah, they announced that at Expo this year. So I think the LCD screen, the audio, and we've talked about this a lot, but all the integration on this game is really great. It makes you feel like you're in the movie, really. What do you think?
I love it. I'm privileged to be able to be babysitting it right now and playing it. I'm doing that on Tuesdays, so you guys can watch that live if you haven't seen it yet. The game's beautiful. The game's an experience. Even though I've been playing it a lot, I actually fired it up yesterday and just played in my own time. So if that tells you anything,
right?
I like the game. I'm pretty addicted to it. And good on everybody who was patient and waited. I know it took a while for it to come out, and I can't even wait, sometimes a week for a pinball machine, let alone some people have waited for a long time. But I think in the end that they should be very happy.
Yeah.
So very good. Good on Jack for getting that out.
Yeah. So I had it when we brought it back from Jersey Jack. I had it at my place first, and obviously I played a lot of it, and so he took it to Nick's, and I haven't been able to play it in a month now. And we had our Festivus party over the weekend, and I finally got to put some games in on it, and I was like, man, I miss having this game around. It's so much fun. I almost got to fight the Battle of the 5 Armies, so that still eludes me, but it's really great. I miss it.
All right.
So
making progress. It's gonna be a quick episode.
Maybe we should impromptu review a game as well.
Maybe. We'll see.
Right. So next, this is number 6. Oh, the one we've all been waiting for. Houdini.
So, I mean, I have not been following this one that much, just because when I heard about it and saw it, I just knew this wouldn't come to fruition. And surprise, surprise, it doesn't look like it's coming to fruition right now. So a company sprung up. What was it, American Pinball?
Yeah.
Does that sound right?
Yep, American Pinball.
Just a couple months ago, saying that they were going to release this game, Houdini, and that John Papaduke, who is steeped in controversy for Magic Girl and taking people's deposits and not producing games, was the designer. So obviously, how could you get terribly excited about it when there's so much bad press around the guy, and he's already had these failed projects. It wasn't even a flipping game. They had a cabinet, they had the art on it, they had stuff kind of populated on the playfield. It looks like most of the stuff was just placeholders as kind of a proof of concept, if you will. but no one's played the game, to my understanding. I think at the Pinball Expo, they brought sort of the guts of the game, just like the populated playfield, no cabinet.
It's just like sitting on a table.
And as far as I can tell right now, that game is not getting made.
Yeah. There was also a promise that they were going to. So, kind of the backstory with this is the John Papaduke. What is it, like probably 3 years ago now? He announced that he was going to be making all these games like the Retro Atomic Zombie Adventureland and Magic Girl and Alice in Wonderland, right? So he basically ended up taking off with people's money, never made these machines, and people were left, with these huge deposits on these games. He was charging like $12,000 to $15,000 for these games and making a very low amount. But as part of the promise from American Pinball was that they were going to fulfill some of these,
which just sounded crazy and too good to be. It's like that expression: if it's too good to be true, it probably is.
Yeah. They were going to actually make some of the orders for these people who paid for Magic Girl. And there was a podcast interview with Jonathan Houston from Pinball Magazine, and he actually spoke with these guys. And one guy, I think, was like the marketing guy. He did like 99% of the talking there, and there was, I think, one of the engineers or something. And the marketing guy was just like so slimy sounding, and it just, everything seemed wrong with it. And he's like, yeah, we knew what we were getting into with bringing John Papaduke on, but we knew when you're a new company, you need to make a splash. So that's what we decided.
It's just crazy.
They intentionally chose Papaduke to get that reaction.
I wish I can delve into this story more, but Pinside is just kind of full of a lot of garbage comments, so to speak. And to really find kind of the nuggets of the story, it's hard, and you don't know what to believe or not to believe. But yeah, guys, it doesn't look like that's happening. It's probably for the best that it's not happening. It's hard enough to start a pinball company, let alone kind of hitching your ride to this guy who has already got so many problems with taking people's money and not producing.
Yeah.
And as Life Forcer said, Houdini, make your money disappear. Thank you, Life Forcer, from our chat. You nailed it.
It's kind of the perfect theme for a Papaduke game if you think about it. Just like poof, anything magic, it's a perfect game.
It's too bad.
Yeah,
who wants? I mean, it's cool. It's cool. It's Houdini. Okay, great concept. It'd be nice to have another machine, but you just know.
Well, that's the thing. Like everybody, it's like, oh, John Papaduke made these awesome games, and they really want to believe that there's this great game coming from him, and they want to see what he can do in 2016, and he's just not making it happen on so many levels. All right, so that's Houdini. If you're going to buy a Houdini, wait until they exist.
Just buy a game that is real. You can touch, you can play. All right.
Do not put any down payments on Houdini. All right, so let's move on to number 5. Number 5 is Alien. It says shipping 2016, not quite shipping yet. They did have one at Pinball Expo back in October. Well, they had 2, I think, and they the rumors from what I hear is that they had some mechanical issues. They kind of struggled a little bit under that much play, but they're prototypes. That happens. We saw that a lot with Big Lebowski.
It's cool. Good on them for bringing it out there. It's tough when you bring a game out for the first time. Like, I played the Hobbit a bunch of shows, and it was just not working right. The Big Lebowski wasn't working right at shows. So it's a weird situation. Do you hide it from people and wait till it's ready, or do you at least give them a taste?
Right.
It's a tough call.
Yeah, and it's Expo, so everybody is expecting to see the games there. So if they weren't to bring the games, people would kind of be like, I don't understand. Or you could get into a situation like Batman 66 where it's like you can look at them, but you can't play them because it's not quite ready to be played yet. So, you kind of pick your poison and go with what you can. But have
you seen this game much, Kev? Have you watched like videos and looked at pictures of Alien?
I've watched the promo videos. I mean, beyond that, there's not much. I mean, Steve Bowden was shooting some video on his phone and posting to Facebook from Expo, and you can only tell so much from something like that. It's got some neat looking toys like the Xenomorph that the tongue comes out and grabs the ball, and like that's something that's really great. And it reminded me of like the Addams Family thing. Like it's going to have that wow factor for people who play the game the first time. But other than that, it's hard to say. Yahtzee, thank you. They put the playfield art up before it was populated, and people are like, it's just kind of like open and dark. And I think it looks a little better with the whole playfield populated. But, I got to play it to really appreciate it. And, with these new companies, I think it comes down to code a lot more than the mechanics. You can do a cool playfield layout, have some cool toys. But if the code isn't really there, it's like, there's just something missing.
Yeah, I agree. I think you said it perfectly. It's hard for me to judge that game right now when I haven't played it. I've seen maybe a few videos. I've seen what it looks like. I'm not excited for it. I'm not in the market for that game. I just, maybe Highway's just too new for me. Maybe when they're on their 5th game or something like that. What I do like about it is the price point. I think $6,500 for the game. It's showing that we can, it can be done. You can make a pinball machine in theory, right? Well, hopefully it works and it's good.
Right.
But you can make a pinball machine that game has 2 LCDs in it, one in the back glass, which is large and can convey a lot of info, and one also in the playfield. That game looks like there's stuff on the playfield, there's toys, it's populated, and $6,500. Now,
to be fair, it is extra to get the playfield LCD or the LCD in the back.
Gotcha.
The one in the playfield is standard. It comes
Yes.
with just a back glass. For that price.
All right. Do you know how much more that is?
It's a couple $100, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's worth it.
Yeah.
I can't imagine not having that.
And there's actually 2 options. You could get like a small display that would go like where the DMD goes, or you can get a giant one that goes like where the back glass would be. So you got a few options.
So kind of standing back, like not something I'm excited over, but I like the price point. It looks like it's got a lot of things to it. I think you can see some of the value there, which is nice. When it competes against games that are like $8,000, which Jersey Jack has. All right, now you've got a game that's $1,500 less, but how does it hold up? Is it fun? And it's also the experience too. Is the lighting good? Does it connect? Is the code there, as Kevin said? Is the animation there? Does it have good rules? So it's a wait and see. I mean, maybe a year from now, we'll have a better answer to that. I think there's a little ways to go.
Yeah, rumor is they're going to start shipping in January, so I wouldn't hold my breath on that, but I think they're in pretty good shape. I mean, if they had prototypes ready to go in October, they should be hammering them out here pretty quick.
So good on them. They're making pinball machines. They're shipping pinball machines. They're on their 2nd one. They're coming out as another viable pinball company. So hopefully, along the way, every game gets a little bit better. I think we're going to have one on location. Rumor has it. So we should be able to talk about it in depth at some point.
Yeah, maybe that's one we should definitely do a bro show on if we can.
Yeah.
2 things about that game. One, it's the second in there. So again, this is their 2nd game. They have some unique features in that you can swap the playfields. So I think what's going to happen, hopefully for them, for Highway Pinball, the manufacturer, is that people are going to buy this game and then they can buy. Their first game was called Full Throttle. You can just buy a Full Throttle kit and put it in this machine and basically have 2 machines in one. You still got to figure out where you're going to put that extra playfield. But
which I think if you have a Full Throttle, I was looking on the website, I think the price for an Alien just to get the playfield and swap it out is $4,300.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken.
I heard something about like the computer in Full Throttle is not, so you have to like upgrade the computer to get Alien to work. So you're better off if you haven't bought any, buy Alien and then get the other playfield. But I think it's only a couple $100 upgrade for that. So it's pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, Pinball 2000 could do it as well. I mean, Pinball 2000 had a screen in it as well. Nothing is unique, but in 2016, that's a unique feature. And the other thing is like, it's their 2nd game. It's got some cool stuff. Like it's got inductive sensors in it instead of switches. So if you're playing it, there's no switches. I like to point out, like on an in lane of a pinball machine, there's switches there so the machine knows that the ball's rolling over there. Their technology, there's nothing there. There's just sensors underneath the playfield, which keeps it moving real fast.
They're under the playfield?
Yeah, there's no switches on the playfield at all.
Interesting.
Yeah, you probably never noticed it, but if you take a look at the playfield on Full Throttle, I don't think you can see it.
How is that from a durability?
I guess we'll see. I mean, that's kind of the risk, right? Is the switches are tried and true. They'll hold it for 10,000 plays.
Well, good on them. Good on them for trying new things. That's the only way. I want in this day and age, if somebody can come out and say they can make a pinball machine that the maintenance on it is reduced, right? It's more durable.
Right.
Then again, that's what I think a lot of people would just universally love.
Exactly.
So if that makes it easier, there's less wires and stuff underneath. It's just more intuitive. An idiot like me could repair it. That's a huge selling point.
Yep. So good on you guys for pushing it forward. All right, number 4. It is. We are finally out of the DMD era, you guys. Officially, ding dong, the DMD is dead. Thank you, Stern, for putting an LCD screen in your back box. So Stern, basically every other manufacturer had already switched to LCD screens. And Stern decided to go for more of a DMD area placement for their digital display.
It's really small compared to everything else.
It's kind of like if you've seen Big Lebowski. It's kind of similar to that.
I think theirs is bigger too, isn't it?
It's taller.
It's taller.
Yeah.
That looks just like the smallest of all the DMDs right now.
Yeah.
It looks like what Highway had, and when they have a small DMD in the back box.
Yeah, it's kind of that. So if you've seen that, it's similar to that. The back box is still the same size as the most recent Stern, so they haven't really messed with the back box dimensions like Highway did. But so we had Jersey Jag had LCDs. We had Dutch Pinball had LCDs. We had Highway Pinball. We had did I miss anybody? Spooky also had LCDs.
Yeah.
And Stern. Thank you for finally making it. Well, I guess we'll
Spookies is like sort of, I mean, it's almost like a hybrid in a way. I mean, it's technically an LCD, right? But it's emulating almost like a DMD.
Yeah, that's kind of how the one on Big Lebowski is though too. It's got a little bit of the like DMD look. And I'm guessing that's probably going to be a transition period thing while people are like, well, I'm not quite used to this. I like the DMD. I don't want a movie playing when I'm playing my pinball because I like to play my pinball. The game's under the glass, blah, blah, blah. We've heard it all before, right?
Yeah, I mean, it is, right? If the game sucks and it's not fun, then that's a fundamental problem, and no screen in the back glass is going to solve it no matter what it's showing on there.
Right.
But then all things being equal, you have two games where it's fun under the glass. Okay. Now what do you have else that's going on? I've come around. I didn't kind of get it at first, and I was in that camp. And look, if I didn't have the Hobbit to play, and I don't know what my thought would be, but I love knowing where I'm at every single point of the game when I look up.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't have to be like, oh, what do I need now? What do I need now? That kind of deal. So I think with the LCD screens, that needs to be conveyed. I don't care how large or small it has to be, but knowing where a player is at all times is really nice. And that's one thing that Hobbit does well. When we were playing, Walking Dead last week, you and I were trying to get to Horde mode. And you get to Horde mode by collecting weapons, and there's a lot of ways to collect weapons in that game. But there would be so many moments where I'm like, okay, how do I get the next weapon? I have no idea how to do it because I've already gotten some of the weapons. What do I have left to do? So it was just that point of kind of frustration where I didn't know what to go in the game. So what I would like to see now that Stern has it and everybody else is there, again, I don't care what size it is, but you need to be able to convey information to the players. And it can be overwhelming. I get it. Pinball is always a little bit overwhelming when you first step up to it. But over time, when you play it and you know what to look at, it becomes a little more intuitive. And I think what the beauty of the LCD screens is that you can convey more information to the player. And, you just arrange it in a way that is intuitive for the player. And you can provide them more power so they can understand a complex game. And games are certainly getting to the point where the rules are complex and deep. So to be able to convey that to the player and kind of ease them into it would be super helpful for pinball in general.
Yeah, it's the right time for LCDs. And like you said, it's because rules have gotten so complex in pinball machines, and because more pinball machines are going into people's homes, we're demanding these deep rule sets because we don't want to spend $5,000 on a machine that we're going to be able to see everything within the first month.
Right.
You always want something out there that's a little bit farther that I can be like, all right, I'll get that next time. That keeps you coming back and keeps you playing. So with all those rules comes all of these things you have to keep track of. And with a just digital display like that, it can really communicate that much more effectively than a dot matrix display can. And, that along with the color changing LEDs in the inserts, all of these are doing great things to communicate to the player the things you need to do to score well and meet the accomplishments and goals of the game. So that is number 4. So number 3, yes? What?
Something's clicking in your house. It's not like your stove is clicking.
Is my stove gonna? If we all blow up, then
yeah.
I think my wife is in there making dinner or something.
Okay.
That's your sidebar.
I just didn't want to die, Kevin.
We're gonna edit that out, but no, we're not going to. What were we on? We just did Stern LCD. That was number 4. So we're moving on to number 3.
We'll see how that flows right
which
into
ties right into Batman 66. So Batman 66, they announced. Just leading up to, well, they didn't really announce it. It just kind of came out from a distributor that this game was on the way. the distributor posted the flyer. It seemed like an internal use only kind of document on Pinside. Said this game's coming. It had information about the premium LE, Super LE, no Pro. I think it had the pricing on it too, right? Because I remember everybody freaking out about the pricing.
It did. Yep.
And yeah, it was they're like it's a remake of Batman The Dark Knight, but not really. They're coming out with they're going to redesign the whole left-hand side of the playfield. The Super LE, they're only going to make 30 of it. Oh wait, they're going to make 80 of them because it's 50 years for Batman and 30 years for Stern.
Hey,
also,
listen, they got people to pay that money.
Also, we like
Good
money,
on them.
so
good on them.
Yeah.
They should.
Yes, that's their job.
Good on them. So hopefully that subsidizes some of the whatever they got to do, right? Whatever Stern needs money for. Hopefully that. Thank you, wealthy people for subsidizing.
Yeah, so we can keep having $5,000 pros. Yeah,
yeah. Hopefully, I don't care if that model works. If that's what it takes, then by all means. I don't even get mad. I think it's kind of crazy, but hey, if I had unlimited money, who knows? Maybe I would be dropping 15,000 on a pinball machine. I don't know, but as long as we don't lose like the Pro at 5,000,
right?
Then more power to them.
Space Jam LE and Pro Edition. I don't know, maybe. So they've all got these. Well, all except for the premium have the topper with Batman and Robin sticking their heads out of the Batmobile. The LE Super LE's got the bat signal that comes off the top. We haven't really seen any gameplay of this yet because they announced it, they brought it to Expo, and then they just put it behind velvet ropes and you couldn't play it.
Which is not like Stern. I mean, this is the first time they've really done it. Usually they bring it out and you play and that's it.
Right.
So now they're taking orders on games that haven't been released yet, which is a little too bad. I don't like that. It's kind of, what people don't like that at this point. All the bad things that happen. Now, Stern, they're going to deliver on it, but still, come on.
Yeah, it's bad timing for all of that, given what we talked about with J-pop and all that. So, yeah, and they basically George Gomez threw Lyman Sheets under the bus and said Lyman will let you guys play it because the rules aren't ready to go. And I'm sure that's probably what the case. I'm sure that was probably the case. The code was not ready. I mean, from a visual perspective, who knows? There could be nothing under the playfield connected for all I know. But from the outside looking in, it looks good. It looks like it's ready to go. So it could be a code thing.
Sweet. Well, if Lyman's working on the game, then it's going to be good. I mean, it's going to have good rules. There's no doubt about that. So that's good news to everybody who is interested in the game. People have ordered it. Lyman's behind the code. I've got a lot of confidence in the fact that the game's going to have good rules. And, if they're tweaking a game that's already been made, which is the Batman Dark Knight from 2008, that game wasn't bad, didn't shoot bad. If they've only made it better, then this game could be a pretty big hit for Stern. So
that more to come. I think we're going to see more of it maybe in the coming year. Obviously, we will. And who knows when they're actually going to ship, but probably soon. But that's Batman 66. The other thing we could talk about with this is it looks like they're going to do more along these lines. So when this came out at Expo, and then there was they put out a survey asking about what other types of themes you would like to see in games that came out from Kapow Pinball. So Kapow Pinball seems like it's more of a high-end brand that they're going to try and do like these older themes.
Super collectible, kind of like geared towards that market.
Yeah. And so it was stuff, I can't even remember the examples.
One of them, Monsters, maybe?
Monsters and like A Christmas Story, I think was one of them. And I don't know, it was all like
nothing that I cared about.
All stuff from like early 80s and older. So it was definitely skewing older demographically. And I filled out the survey and said it's nothing really I would pay.
Well, sure. I mean, right, if you're going to the collector market, then typically the older you are, the more money you have
disposable
for
income
kind of these toys.
Yeah.
So, I get it. I get it. There you go.
Yep.
So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Hopefully, hopefully there's a market for this. Stern can keep cashing in because we want them to keep making awesome pinball machines.
We don't know when that game is shipping, though, do we?
No.
It's been I've not been following it, but it's been quiet.
Yeah, like you said on Pinside, it's tough to separate the noise from the signal. But
which that brings up another issue. We were talking about this earlier today. Stern typically comes out with 3 new titles a year. Okay, that's like their thing. That's kind of what's awesome about them because that 1 out of the 3 is probably going to be a really good game or you're really going to like it or something like that. The odds are in your favor, right?
Yep.
This year, realistically, they came out with one new game.
Yep.
And
That's our number 2.
that's our number 2. That's Ghostbusters.
That's a segue, ladies and gentlemen.
So before we even talk about Ghostbusters, now you're going to say, well, listen, Nick, they came out with Spider-Man Vault Edition. Well, that's the Vault Edition. That's not a new game. They came out with Pabst Can Crush or whatever. That's not a new game. That's a reskin of game.
Yep.
They didn't really come out with Batman because it's not even shipping yet. So the only really new game that you could have bought this year is Ghostbusters. Well, thankfully, people like Ghostbusters.
Yep. It's a great game.
It's got to be. I'm guessing it's been a big hit for Stern.
Yeah, they've been cranking them out. It's kind of hits a lot of the nostalgia. It's got great art from Zombie Yeti. It's got I love the sound on this game. It's got a theme. It's got toys that are cool. It's tough. If you heard our review of it last time, or our comparison of the Pro versus LE Premium, then you know that we kind of have some issues with the LE Premium. It's not a perfect game, but it's really fun.
I mean, you've heard people say that, we gotten some feedback where there's a lot of people who agree or disagree, but somebody said, hey, listen, I've got the game and it doesn't do that on mine. So that's good. That's good. And maybe that's something code could fix. I don't know.
I heard they made the Magnuslings less annoying in the latest code. So
well, that's nice. It's so annoying, just less.
Yeah. Oh, you know what they did? So in the first version of the code, you could adjust the sensitivity of the Magnuslings.
Okay.
Then they took it out of the code.
Weird.
So you couldn't adjust the mag.
Yeah.
And then they brought it back because people were like, so yeah, let people adjust it to where it needs to be to play well on that particular machine. They're still very much working on the code. I was showing Nick, there's a library insert on the left scoop that never even lights during the game. So there's a lot more to come for that game, I'm sure. And especially if it's been selling as well as everybody has said it is, then they'll keep it rolling off the line and keep the code coming.
Yeah,
for
good
it.
on Stern. Good for picking a great theme. Good for getting great artwork. The sound in that game is so good. I think Stern's been just killing it sound-wise, and that's so important for me in a pinball machine that it has good sound. And I'm probably not the only one that feels that way, but they are consistently just putting out a good sound package, and Ghostbusters is definitely one of the best.
Yep. And Boomerski in the chat makes a good point about airballs. That's another thing, like, if you got the game in your house, you can dial it in the way you need it to so the airballs aren't flying all over the place. There's plastics you can get to help mitigate all that. So on location, it's probably going to be a drain monster. If you get it in your house, you can get it to a point where it's fun to play. And, Nick was playing it before and blowing it up on the Lupin Supers. And, stuff like that is fun.
Yeah, I have fun playing yours, Kevin, but Kevin did a lot of work in just getting that game to play like it should. I mean, you've probably put in a good amount of time, like hours, just getting it to work right. And still, there's still cheap things that I'll be like, WTF, you know what I mean? But at least I have more fun playing yours than most.
Yep.
But not everybody's going to have that luxury.
Right,
so.
exactly.
But that's still number 2. That's still number 2 of the news, the events of the year.
Yep.
Ghostbusters coming out.
We're not done with Ghostbusters yet, though.
Theme that everybody was waiting for. A lot of people love it. A lot of people are frustrated by it, but it's got to be a big hit for Stern.
Yeah, the big thing that kept everybody talking about this game throughout the year was the playfield production issues.
Oh shit, Kevin, you had to go there.
It's the news. It's what everybody talked about all year, and we can't do a 2016 recap without mentioning it. It's Stern. They changed vendors for their playfields from what I understand. And sorry, I love Shake Weights is here.
He just announced in the chat that he's arrived, and
it distracted me. I'm sorry.
Good job, you win. You win Twitch.
That's why it's great having you guys in the chat. So for months people were having these insert issues where the clear coat was separating from the play. And so when I say an insert, when you look on a pinball playfield, there's little lights, areas of the playfield where they light up. Those are inserts. And on most games, those are nice and clean and smooth. And on Ghostbusters, they were starting to get you could see white areas around the edges of the inserts. And I heard a lot of the LEs, unfortunately, had most of the issues with this. So they actually started doing a playfield replacement program where if you send in pictures of your playfield, they put it in front of, thank you, Pop Chase. I don't know why I won, but I win. They put it in front of a panel. This is what I was told and what I've heard. A panel will review your photos. And if you qualify, if there's enough wrong with your pinball machine, they will replace your playfield, which, good on Stern for making it right. It's an inconvenience for the end user because obviously I don't want to take the playfield out of my machine and ship it to Stern and then throw it back into my other machine, or I don't even want to have the hassle of pulling my playfield out. It's like, what the heck? But they're trying to make it right. I read a thread on Pinside that said somebody got a replacement playfield that had bad inserts on it, though.
Oh, man, that sucks.
2084, thanks for the resub.
Thank you, man.
So they're trying.
That's gotta be that's gotta be frustrating for Stearns, frustrating for the customers, and maybe that's why we just see these delays. Maybe that's why Batman 66 is not shipped. I don't know what's going on. I mean,
I think in the end, this is really what's holding everything else off.
Yeah.
From being produced, and why we only saw one major release from Stern this year.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks on them because it's not, technically it's not their fault.
Right.
You get bad parts from a distributor. You don't know what's going on until it happens later, and then what the hell do you do?
Yeah.
I don't know. All I can say is that they've always made it right for me when I've had problems, so hopefully they continue that trend and everybody's made whole.
Yep. So from what I hear, they've switched back to their original vendor for playfields. I think it was Churchill makes them.
Yeah.
So
it's like, I knew you'd be back. Churchill's like, yeah, you tried somebody else, right?
It was cute.
How'd that work out?
I saved a few bucks on each playfield.
Yeah.
Kid 8092, thanks for the follow. Lion Man, welcome.
Sometimes it's not worth trying to save a couple bucks.
Yeah.
Come on, Stern.
Exactly. All right. So that is, we've gone from 10 to 2. Now we're creeping up to number 1. What's it going to be, ladies and gentlemen? Your number one
news events of the year for 2016 in pinball, according to Brody Even Talk Pinball.
And the only source that matters, it's Dialed In Pinball.
It's
the return.
3 guys. That's the picture Kevin put up. All right.
The return of Pat Lawler. Pat Lawler is back.
That is the news, man. The return of Pat Lawler. It's been Pat Lawler, legendary pinball designer. This is his first game in how many years? Since like maybe 2008?
Yeah, I think it was like was CSI his?
CSI, yeah. It's got to be 2007, 2008.
Ouch.
Almost 10 years from one of the best designers in pinball, who's made classic games like Addams Family and Funhouse, Twilight Zone. He is back, and he's had, just think about this, and I said this before, but he's had 3 years to work on this game. So it's kind of funny that it's called Dialed In, because when we got to play it, it certainly feels dialed in. And I think a lot of people are excited about this game now that Jack has been touring around and letting people play it, that they've seen the video of it after the initial release at Expo when people were kind of disappointed. But once they got to play it, I've heard of a lot of people purchasing the game, people that we know who have their deposits down on it, who, I don't know, they're even Pat Lawler fans per se, but there's a lot of excitement around this game. So I think it's going to be a big hit. To me, that is the biggest news in 2016 for pinball.
Yeah, playing this game, to me, it felt like if Williams had never gone out of business, this would be the game they were making in 2016. It felt like I was playing a game from the 90s that Williams made, but with modern rules. The shots felt great. They diverted all sorts of different ways.
It's fast. It has flow.
Yeah, for a Lawler game.
Yeah, there wasn't really much stop and go.
Yeah, other than No Good Gophers, this is definitely the game with the most flow from Pat Lawler. I think Jersey Jack's really coming into their own as far as like knowing how to use the back box LCD and having the freedom to do with it whatever they want without a theme. They don't have to use movie footage. They can.
That's true.
They're like, all right, we have this blank slate. What are we going to do with it? So they use it to show this city that you're in the middle of, and there's all these destructions going on and natural disasters and things are getting destroyed, and it's showing your progress through the game on as a graphical representation on that screen. So it's Pat Lawler did little stuff like redesign the legs, so even if you don't adjust the casters on the legs, it's sitting at 6.5 degrees. It's like little stuff like that. Like, why didn't anybody think of this before?
There's a lot of care that goes into Jersey Jack pinball machines, and there's a lot of care that Pat Lawler put into it. I'm really excited. I can't wait. Hopefully we'll get to babysit one and stream it all the time like we are with the Hobbit. We're excited for hopefully that opportunity.
Yes.
So we'll see. But I think that folks who have jumped in and have pre-ordered it, I think you're going to be really happy with that.
Yeah, and Jack's doing the right thing touring this game around because it's got a theme that people don't know. So they need to play it to, it's got the effect of, and I think we mentioned this on the last show, it's like, it has that effect of America's Most Haunted. People are like, oh, weird, like, ghost hunting game. It's like, I don't like reality TV shows, and who are all these weird teenagers? But you start playing the game, and it's a fun game, and it's got some humor to it.
Yeah.
And I had the same kind of reaction to Dialed In. It was like, this is really cool. As soon as I started playing it, it was like, it's not about a cell phone. It's about natural disasters, and you're in the city, and the cell phone is the thing that's making all of this happen. And like Jack said, it's pinball is a reflection of a moment in time in Americana. So mobile devices are everywhere right now. So it's natural that there would be a game like this happening right now. So I think it's a great theme. Plays well, shoots well. They say only 20% of the code is there. So if that's 20% of the code, I can't wait to see what's coming in the other 80%.
Pinball is a reflection of moment in time. I mean, look at Barbed Wire and Gottlieb. Shitty movie, shitty pinball machine came together to form the worst fucking thing I've ever played.
Hashtag that.
Everybody drink. Part of the rules.
That's right.
Is cursing.
Yes, Nick is swearing.
There's actually no rule when Kevin curses
No.
because you don't curse.
I try not to on the stream. I do all the time when I'm not streaming, but we got to strike a balance on the stream. You swear enough for all of us, really.
I do. I try.
But that's 2016. So overall, what is your stepping back at the end of the year? How do you feel about this year in pinball?
I think it's a pretty good year. It's good to see that we've jettisoned the DMD. We're finally stepping into quote unquote modern technology, right? Pinball machines are starting to catch up. I was just happy when Stern jumped to stereo, for God's sakes. Sound is so important for me in a pinball machine. It kills me to hear like Metallica not being stereo, but I'm really happy that we've gotten to the LCD. Dialed in is exciting. Hobbit's finally shipping. I think things are good. The fact that Highway Pinball brought a title that people wanted to see, a theme that people wanted to see, which is Alien. I mean, that's great. They're delivering on what people want. We're really at a good place with pinball right now. We've got more companies than ever. The technology is advancing. The themes are really good that are coming out. I don't know, man. It's a pretty damn good year. At least something's going right in 2016, right?
Right. There's some things that some down points that we talked about throughout the show. The Houdini stuff and the pricing issues. Prices go up.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Rufus Toast says VR pinball is great, and you mentioned VR pinball in the Stern pinball, but that's another thing that's going on. We have VR pinball.
Yeah.
So everybody who might not have access to a pinball machine, they can still have somewhat of a pinball experience. So that's awesome.
So I played Pinball FX2 on the PlayStation 4, and I used to own a virtual pinball machine that I built, and by far VR pinball is better than the virtual pinball machine. You can look around, you can get perspective on the game that you can't get. If you have a physical machine in front of you, the screen doesn't change even if you look around on it. There are some mods, and you can hack stuff together if you want to spend a bunch of time and money on it. But in the end, put the headset on, pay your $10-15 for the game, and really enjoy it.
Yeah.
If you want more of a pinball experience, build yourself a pinball controller or something. I'm sure they'll come out with something.
Yeah,
like
I'm wholly against virtual pinball machines.
Yeah.
But that's another issue. Like the whole idea of taking a cabinet and putting an LCD screen in there, like that's not pinball. And now with VR, you can do it cheaper and you can do it better, in my opinion.
Without taking up a huge amount of space in your in your game room.
Total win. And I hope, through that it gets more people into pinball. That's how I got into pinball, was through the Pinball Arcade and Zen Pinball. Mm-hmm. That's what got me here. That's why I'm driving out to Kevin's house to podcast and talk on Twitch and do this crazy thing. So they must be doing well. Pinball Arcade has been doing this for, they started in the late 2000s with, I think it was Gottlieb's Greatest Hits or something like that. And then the
Pinball Hall of Fame.
Yeah, the Pinball Hall of Fame. And now, they're still coming out with tables, and they partner up with Stern. So this is great, man. So many people in our, who listen or come into our chat room and watch us play and stream real pinball.
Yep.
They found us because of the Pinball Arcade. So they're really, kind of one of the cornerstones of this resurgence that we're seeing in pinball.
Yeah, so keep it going on many levels. Much like Nick, I feel like this is a great year. I bought my first new in-box pinball machine ever.
Congratulations.
So it was a big year for me. We've done a lot of great things, just from a Buffalo Pinball perspective. It's been an amazing year for us. And thank you to you guys for listening and watching. It's been like, I couldn't have imagined like coming into this year all the things that happened for us. So it's been awesome.
Yeah, we plan to keep on doing our I really enjoyed the podcast, and I like doing it once a month. So that's our planned format. It gives us enough to kind of talk about blathering and just wasting time talking about what we had for lunch, which is tacos, by the way.
It's always tacos.
Yeah. And our stream. We're going to continue to keep it up. We have an announcement coming out pretty soon.
Yeah, we'll announce that in the new year.
Yeah, big announcement for our stream. But thank you all, everybody, for listening to us talk pinball. Thank you for watching us. Thank you for financially supporting us, which means a lot to us. We're still trying to recoup a lot of costs that we've invested into this. Maybe one day we'll make money, and that money that we do make, we'll buy a pinball machine, which we'll then stream, so everybody gets to see it. It's a win-win. But we're very grateful. This hobby means a lot to me. This hobby is very rewarding just because of the social aspect of folks that I've gotten to meet in person, friendships that I've made, people that I have never encountered in my daily routine. I've now become friends with, and all the fine folks who are out there and watch us. I feel like you're here every time we stream pinball, interact with us, and we have our shared kind of jokes together. Yep. It's a lot of fun, and it's very meaningful. So thank you for an awesome 2016.
So speaking of our community, we reached out to our community and asked you guys what were your top moments in pinball of 2016. So let's take a look at Twitter. This is the question we asked on Twitter. What was the biggest pinball moment of 2016? We'll share your answers on tonight's Talk Pinball show, which we're doing right now. And so James Mulvinson, Amosis, in the chat room, he says, me joining the hobby, you're welcome. Yes, I'll see myself out. So I said that'll be number one on the list, but it was the first one we mentioned at least. TurboGrafx7, who's in the chat right now, says, for me personally, buying 2 pinball machines, putting a deposit down on a third, going to Pinball Expo, and he knew this was going to get him mentioned on the show. He says, and subbing to Buffalo Pinball.
Attaboy. We helped Buffalo Pinball wants to share a success story of TurboGrafx FX7, helping convince his wife to get another pinball machine. So I was happy to be a part of that.
I think that's a service we need to start offering in 2017.
We're going to create a PSA video at some point about that.
So next up we had Masked Villain Pinball. He said mine came last night when I finally won my first IFPA pinball tournament.
Dude, that's awesome. So, congratulations. Such a cool feeling.
Congratulations, MVP. Check him out. He's a Twitch streamer too. He streams a lot of competition stuff. Us Retro Gamer on Twitter says, our biggest pinball moment for 2016 was meeting Jersey Jack in person. So Jersey Jack hauled all of the dialed-ins down to Australia.
Super cool.
These folks got to meet him, and they got to see us in Jack's presentation. So that was great.
Jack's a great guy, man. He's like super warm, super friendly, super genuine. Yep. So that's cool. I can see why they would get excited for that.
Yep. Holiday Waffles.
I fucking love Holiday Waffles.
Watching Buffalo Pinball stream Batman Forever. That's what Pup Chase says. If you guys want to throw your moments in the chat right now, well, we can talk about them too. But Holiday Waffles at Gur's Doom Song on Twitter says, seeing Data East Kingpin at California Extreme this past summer. So he sent a picture of that.
It's actually Capcom. This is where my nerd. It's actually a Capcom Kingpin.
Oh man!
But that is cool. They've only made maybe 9 of them. I mean, like there's only a few of them out there.
Yeah.
I've never played one. I've never seen one in person.
That's a game. That's
Super
a game
cool.
I'd like to see either re-released by who's doing the re-releases. Doesn't matter. Or put on like Pinball Arcade or something like that. Mm-hmm. That'd be a great game. Chris Stevens, CD Spinball. Check him out on Twitch. He's CSEEDEES_PGH on Twitter.
He's a ridiculously good pinball player, by the way.
Top 10 in the world.
Yeah, he is super good. Watch him on Twitch.
Yeah,
he puts us to shame.
Yeah. He says, my biggest would be third place in Pinburg, speaking of being awesome at pinball, but buying my first DMD is the close second. So that's what he's been streaming on Twitch, is his brand new Metallica, which I think he said he ended up buying because of his great victory at Pinburg. So
yeah, dude, I mean, great choice. You know that. Great machine. So congratulations.
Yeah. Chris Stevens, congratulations. So let's pop over to, we also asked on Instagram. We got some responses there. Hi. Back to Instagram. 2016, what was your biggest pinball moment of 2016? First up, Jay Fairbrother. January 1st, Battle of Buffalo. You didn't even get the name right because it's the Battle for Buffalo, not the Battle of Buffalo.
Jesus Christ, Jay. He was there. He was the main participant. Oh, my God.
That City Cat says, the day the shanty said they'd get tater tots.
That City Cat, the day the shanty said they'd get tater tots.
I think that's Emily.
It's an inside joke, yeah.
Yeah. So the backstory on that is your team goes to the town shanty.
I was just saying we don't engage in what we had to eat and that kind of dribble. And then here we go.
Well, it's all that City Cat's fault.
Went off the rails.
Nick requested tater tots, and now they're going to have
Let's
them.
be honest. I had to tell this business, and I'm not upset. I know I'm raising my voice. I'm gonna calm down. We're gonna take it down to like a 6. 5.
This is Tater
Maybe a
Tots.
cool NPR 4. I suggested this place that they add tater tots to the menu, and they said they would comply, which is awesome. And that is just a no-brainer. I said, listen, I would even do a $1 upcharge. $1 upcharge, no-brainer. Even 2. I wouldn't tell them 2, but I would. They would have me at $2 upcharge for tater tots.
Nobody
Okay.
play this for Michaelstown Shanty. Luigi in the chat says the best moment was maybe finding that Jordan machine and antagonizing you guys about it, along with Space Jam and Cross Arm Games galore. Thank you, Luigi.
Thank you, Luigi.
Star Hedgehog said he posted one on Twitter. So
I'm
we'll
getting
check
better
that
at
out, too.
cross-art games because people who watch our Twitch stream, you can basically make us do crazy things. How does that work? Just want to say it really quickly.
Sure.
for anybody
We
who
have
does watch.
we have a loyalty program where if you're watching the live stream, you earn points, or if you donate, if you make a donation through Streamlabs, you earn points, or if you resubscribe to the channel, those sorts of things. And when you get a certain number of points, say like 500 points, you can redeem them for a split flipper game or a one-handed game or a cross-arm game, crazy stuff like that. Or you can, we'll follow you on Twitter or Instagram, or if you earn up to 10,000 points, we'll send you a sticker. So we're trying to do things that, reward you for hanging out and being a part of the chat. So
Joe Shorts, I see your recommendation, and it is duly noted.
all right. So yeah, that's the loyalty program. So if you watch us live on Twitch, we can do crazy stuff.
Okay, moving along on Instagram. We digress into food, but
Let's move down here. Flipper Doctor ran us through the whole year. So he says, 40 years ago, Roger Sharp legalized pinball in New York. 2016, Ghostbusters Pinball by Stern, Alien Pinball by Highway Pinball, Hobbit, and Dialed In by Jersey Jack. Many more new pins and manufacturers made new pinballs. It's a great pinball year. And I think we basically could have just read that post and been done with
he
the
did good.
show.
He hit all the highlights, too. That's pretty good.
Yep. Promo Pinball says, I think that the biggest moment was when at Promo Pinball, so that's them, installed a Promo Pinball's digital. So that's the third time we've mentioned their name. They clearly went to marketing school, and you need to say something 3 times for people to retain it. So, so when they installed a digital pinball cabinet at a football player Leo Messi's restaurant called, I'm not going to say that because it's in Spanish.
Whoa.
It's in Barcelona, Spain. Fully customized and free to play for all customers and
free
visitors.
to play. God bless them.
So you can check their Facebook page out. Promo Pinball, PROMO
Cool.
Pinball on Facebook. Check that out. And Stubstogram says Robert Gagno winning Papa.
Awesome.
That was a great moment.
Yeah, it's a great year.
It was. Let me see if I can pop over to Twitter again and see if we can reload this and see Star Hedgehogs. Let's see. Should be down at the bottom. Oh, here's a couple more. Destroy Overworlds. Oh, that was that's it. That's Luigi. It says finding that Jordan machine, antagonizing you guys galore, et cetera, et cetera. And also Star Hedgehog Jonathan Lipscomb says seeing my cousin's big pinball collection and playing some of them. I remember that.
Sweet.
Yeah. So congratulations to you guys on a wonderful 2016. It's been great. It's been a pleasure, like we said, hanging out with you guys and doing all this crazy content and stuff. So I guess anything else to wrap up the show besides selling some advertising here?
Oh, yeah. Let's thank our partners, which we should have done in the beginning of the show. So let's bring up, by the way, these are our folks who help us to do what we do. So when you're out there buying stuff for your pinball machines or pinball-related things, consider supporting them over their competitors. Comet Pinball, maker of LEDs, Pinball Life. When you need parts for your pinball machine, check them out, pinballlife.com. Jersey Jack Pinball. And by the way, Comet Pinball is cometpinball.com. Jersey Jack Pinball, maker of The Hobbit, Wizard of Oz, and the new Dialed In. Pinball Arcade, maker of recreations of virtual pinball machines, recreating real ones. Did I say that right? Something like that.
Something
you
like
get it.
that. Yeah.
Virtual recreations of real pinball machines.
Boom.
Yeah, I say
Now
this
you
every
nailed it.
week.
Yeah.
It's the first time I messed it up. Titan Pinball. So I get all my rings for my pinball machine from them. They make silicone rings. I use them on all my games. They're TitanPinball.com. You can save 10% with the coupon code Buffalo. And then finally, Tilt Cycle, maker of upcycled pinball art. So if you want some cool art for your game room, check out TiltCycle.com. He also does custom pieces, so feel free to reach out to him with your crazy ideas. I did. And you can be the talk of the town. He's got a coupon code of Buffalo for 20% off.
Awesome. And thank you to all you guys for your support. We will see you.
Let's do a shirt ad.
That's the wrong shirt ad.
All right, fine.
If you go to buffalopinball.com/merch, you can check out the our new Play Angry shirt. Like I like to say, inspired by our own Nick Lane, the angriest pinball player I know.
I haven't kicked the chair like Trent, though.
Yeah, no.
I haven't gotten to that level yet.
You're working on it. You're getting there. I think you got him beat in the swearing department, though. I haven't heard him swear quite as much.
Well, see,
as
here's my point. If you don't swear, that's something that you release the pressure valve. Otherwise, furniture gets abused.
That's right. So
I love you, Trent.
So save the furniture and swear. That's the message of this podcast today. buffalopinball.com/merch. Check out shirts. We're out of a couple of the smaller sizes, medium larges. Or do we ended up having a couple larges left?
You know what? I have a couple extra larges, so we can put that back on the website because no one's complained yet that they're missing a large. So
Okay.
I don't know what happened. I think we got extra in the order, or I can't count. One of the two. So we have only like 2 larges left, and then we have XLs and 2XLs and 3XLs, I think. So
Okay.
we're running low. So
Yep.
get it now.
Order now. Makes a great holiday gift. What else?
I just want to say, everybody have a happy holiday season. Have a happy New Year, and we are potentially going to do a New Year show. It won't be as awesome as the Battle for Buffalo because I can't top that, and I've been honest with myself. But I want to do something special for New Year's Day, so stay tuned to our social media. We will announce it if it does happen. Mm-hmm. I'm supposed to be battling my younger brother, who is really cocky. He thinks he's better than me at pinball. He's Joe Lane. He came in second place in the Binghamton League. I'm just saying, second place, Joe. Mm-hmm. It's rubbish. Everybody down there is new at pinball, so I don't know. Anyways, I don't think he's too scared, but he's supposed to come up to Buffalo and battle me for on like at least 7 games of pinball.
He's totally scared.
Yeah.
Looking ahead to 2016, for us, a few things in January. We're gonna.
Oh well, Zelsko, I got the. I got your shirt. I still had 2 extra ones. I still have 2 extra ones
after yours.
I'm glad you're watching.
Early January, I'm going to be heading out to Pinball Done Quick with a whole bunch of Twitch streamers. Pinball Joe, our buddy Mixer Tuna, Austin Macker at AKM Pinball, Osric, Rudy Soup, Tim Balls. I'm going to forget somebody because there's like 15. Steve Bowden's going to be there, Fun with Bonus. So for a week, we're all going to be streaming live pinball 24 hours a day, 7 days a week from Awesome Games Done Quick. That's the 8th through the 15th of January. I'm going to be there from the Wednesday through the Sunday. We're going to do a whole lot of pinball. Yep, I'm going to cover that for Tuna Life Forcer. Yeah, a whole lot of pinball. It's all for a great cause. It's for the Prevent Cancer Foundation. It's kind of a side stream to Awesome Games Done Quick, and we're going to be on the homepage of Twitch the whole time, I think. So it's going to be great exposure. Really, our goal there is to, one, make money for the charity, and 2, really show Twitch that pinball is here, pinball is for real, and we want to keep it going. So if you type !t-shirt in the chat, Life Forcer, thank you very much. If you're listening, you can go to ddpinball.com/PDQ, so for Pinball Done Quick. So ddpinball.com/PDQ. Use code Buffalo Pinball at checkout, and we'll get credit for the shirt sales. We're trying to beat Mixer Tuna, but he's selling them to all of his coworkers.
He's selling them to his coworkers.
Yeah, he's talking to them long enough to get them to go, okay, stop talking. I will buy the shirt. I need to get back to work. Yeah. So that's we're gonna have some announcements for the Twitch channel coming up in January. It's exciting. More coming your way. Thanks to you guys, and we look forward to doing it again in 2017.
I'm good.
All right. Peace out, guys.